So this is Round Mountain. I made a couple of videos from the summer up here, but now you get to see it in the snow, and it's a beautiful place in either way. It's in Roosevelt National Forest, Colorado. I haven't made a video since Thanksgiving, and it's like December 6th or something now, and I'm out of storage. I just had to clear some space on my phone to be able to make this little video. But I met some people walking up here. They were an older couple, but they were very great shape. The guy was actually running up here. He was in fantastic shape, and we started talking about all sorts of things. We talked about entrepreneurship and our product, Good Brew, and gut health, and then we talked about some other subjects and geology and forestry and a little bit about math and all these things. And what's important about that is that you never know about the things you learn in life, and what they're going to turn into. Many of the things that we learn about in life, they spark creativity in completely different areas. And it's important to know this at all ages, but it's really important to know this when you're young, because a lot of the stuff that we do when we're young, especially in this modern world, and I think this is a lot in modern schooling, and it's been this way probably for quite a while, but we try to overly direct our attention to learning something in a perfunctory way, meaning just in a way that doesn't actually have a specific goal in mind or purpose. It's just to learn something from a technical point of view, which can be useful, but it's kind of this idea that humans are sort of like robots, and we're not. We have one of the most amazing things about the human mind is its creativity and its ability to tap into areas of the unknown in ways that we don't even fully explain yet. And this is neuroscience and quantum mechanics and things are starting to now shed some light on that about the human nature. But we have to nourish it. And as a child or as a young person, not just a child, this really ties back into the brain's amazing ability to learn and to form new areas of interest. It takes more effort as you get older, but it is practice. Your brain is part of your body like anything else. So if you practice it, if you practice learning and being creative, allowing yourself to be creative, allowing yourself to reflect and understand what you're feeling about things, you can open up a lot of insights. And so don't get distracted by the things that a lot of people, whether they have good meaning, well-intended or not well-intended, distract you from what is really going to serve you well through life. And that's treating your body and your mind well, but allowing yourself to be curious about exploring things and learning new things. And you have to do that with discretion. Some people could take that the wrong way. What I mean is there's so many wonderful and beautiful things about life and nature and subjects that we might learn in school, but in school they rarely have the ability for them to expand out into areas that are more creative. That's a little bit about the subject. One of the things I was talking about with this gentleman I just met, talking about math and how this famous scientist physicist Richard Feynman, observed something about kids throwing a frisbee, and then eventually won the Nobel Prize because somehow he translated what he observed about these kids throwing the frisbee into something about the quantum state of electrons. So a lot of this goes into art. I was thinking about this even before I came up here when I was listening to a Jack Johnson song. Jack Johnson is a fabulous musician who tells stories. He's a surfer and a musician, and really connected with nature, and he loves family. And so a lot of his songs really tie back to his family and his kids and to kids in general. And he tells these little stories, and I was thinking about this, something about learning to tie knots or something, I don't know, but how that became a song. And so spend your time doing little things and learning with the big subject areas that you need to learn, the math and grammar and English and language and history and all of that stuff. But also keep in mind that all that stuff, just because it's said one way in a book, doesn't mean that it can't be improved on or it's correct. You got to be real careful about that and discerning about that, and you got to play the game of making sure you satisfy your teachers and things to make your grades, but at the same time be your own person and still continue to think for yourself. Keep in mind that just because somebody teaches you something one way doesn't mean that it was the correct way or completely true, or because a lot of times it's even completely made up. But anyhow, but also learning crafts and art, and that's where your brain is really connecting itself, spirituality, all in all areas of your brain are starting to work together. And if you practice that, and there's the things you can do too, like exercise and playing games, those things aren't just for your body, they're for your mind. And certain ways that we treat ourselves with the foods that we eat, and all of those things all come back to having a healthy brain where the networking of the brain and all the neurons can sort of interact and play with one another in a way that is not just specific to being like a robot, and we can put ourselves in that state. That's a good thing also to train yourself. You can train yourself to be in other states of mind, and it's good to play with training yourself when you're young so that you kind of have these skills, and as you get older, that you can rely on. But you can learn like meditation and things to exercise your brain and to help yourself get into areas of focus when you need to focus, and areas of creativity when you want to be creative. Sometimes it happens sort of arbitrarily, but it's also something that there's things that we can do, and if we observe ourselves, we can observe when those happen. And many things play a factor in that, including just basic simple things like the way that we breathe. The way we breathe has a lot to do with the state of mind that we're in, and how the adrenaline and the cortisol and the serotonin and different things are produced in the body. When we exercise is like, every time they always study almost anything that's out there and health benefits, if you always come back to exercise as being like key to that. Our bodies are meant to move. That's largely why we have a brain to begin with, is because we move, and we have to move. When we move, all kinds of things get turned on. But it also is in combination with food, and our gut health is a big part of that too, which is something that the modern world has really disrupted a lot. So the way we eat and that we exercise and all of those things too. And if we're taking medications, we got to understand those medications might help us in some ways, but they have side effects in other ways, and we need to be able to listen to our body, and not just keep compounding the problems that we have. And how we deal with people socially, how we have a nice balance between knowing ourselves as an individual, but also being able to interact with other people, and having a nice fine line between trying to be a positive influence on other people and not letting other people be a negative influence on us. It's all part of learning, but you can set your compass, stay creative, and learn all these little things as you come along. Find the things that you're best at and you love the most, and put your big part of your energy into those things. But pick up these other little things as you go along, because you don't know how you're going to end up tying those into completely unrelated things. If you teach your mind to learn what we call it lateral thinking. Lateral thinking is like being creative. It's like taking something from over here and something from over there. They don't seem to be related at all. And then all of a sudden, our brain puts them together and we come up with some new and novel. That's how a lot of great things get discovered, and how a lot of entrepreneurs get started and on something. And a lot of people in the outside world can't see it. They can't even see what this person is onto until after the fact, So I love you, and keep exploring. Set your compass in the right direction.